Hi everybody, it's Travis from Zone 67 in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'd like you to grab a cup of tea, hot tea, iced tea, or your beverage of choice, and come join me, walk with me through the garden. This is going to be part one of our July garden tour. This front bed here, as you can see, I've got some weeds to pull, but this is a work in progress here. I did have hostas in here, and if you remember, I dug them up and moved them to the back for my woodland shade garden. So the blue that you see is the blue Victoria Salvia. See if I can get a close up on that. I'm trying to do my video a different way. I was told I could hold my camera long ways instead of up and down, and it would be a widescreen for you guys. I'm not very good with technology. Thank God my husband is. Okay, so the blue is the Victoria Blue Salvia. If you guys watch my videos, then you already know that. I say it every video. The yellow is a shrub. It is called Potentilla. And it's covered in these bright yellow blooms through summer and fall. So that's what we got going on in the border here, just the blue and the yellow. I plan to add some marigolds like we got in the front. So we'll have a pop of orange next to that blue and yellow. I'm still working on debating on what perennials I want in here. We got the Annabelle hydrangea. So far, no blooms yet, but they are growing. These were tiny, and this is just their second season here. Got some nasty bindweed on them. Okay, and our little planter here. Orange is the nasturtiums. Little marigold there. Sedum, type of sedum that's hanging down. And I did have a pop of purple in there, but as you can see, they're done blooming. Also in the border, along the front, we have the autumn joy sedum. On this arbor here, on the left, is a moonflower vine, an evening bloomer. No blooms on it yet, but it'll be a big white flower. They're supposed to be very fragrant, and like I said, they open up in the evening. And on this side, we just had a clematis, but it's done blooming for the season. Okay, let's walk over here to the circle garden, and I'll show you guys the Mexican sunflower that just started to bloom. Very pretty bright orange flower on there. I'm hoping to get many more. This is going to be really pretty if it once it all blooms out. So that's the pop-up orange in the middle. If you remember last year, we had the short orange zinnias. But I wanted something taller for the center. I've cut it back now. But we have catmint in here for our blue. Russian sage is a new bloom for you guys this week. It really needs the hot, dry July weather to really pop. It's been in the 80s and lower 90s here, so very hot. Also blue is the plumbago, I think it's how it's pronounced. Another perennial, and this will be covered in these pretty blue flowers. So keeping the theme or the color scheme with the orange, the purple, and blue. We'll have purple asters here in the fall. Autumn joy sedum. Coral bells. And this is a new one this year I just got. I think it's a coreopsis. Just a pop of yellow. And here is the plumbago plant. Slowly but surely the blooms are coming on. Alright, now the front landscape, I call it, up around the house. Knockout roses. And like I said, the Russian sage has really popped now because of the heat. So we've got the blue, autumn joy sedum, all across the border here and all throughout. Don't look at my bag, guys. I need mulch. Marigolds, the orange. I went with the shorter variety of the marigolds this year. Last year I had the big, tall, bushier ones, and they kind of took over, which I really liked them. I really wanted those again, but I couldn't find them anywhere. Spirea. There's a good look at the Russian sage. Very pretty backlit with the hot pink or fuchsia color of the roses. Some ajuga. And this was just in a little bitty 4-inch pot last year, and you can see how much it spreads in just a year. It looks even better without the violets in it. But you can only keep up with so much, especially when you work 40, 50 hours a week. Sometimes 60 if the holiday season starts getting crazy. Here's a look at our planters. It's not looking as good as it was on the last video. I need a deadhead, the marigolds, and this promotes more blooms. as you guys know. And I just throw them back in there, and it feeds the soil. Something over here. Alright, new blooms this week. Limelight hydrangea. Shrub. Very hardy. You can always count on these to come back. Very pretty white cone shaped flower to them. Probably mid-July they'll be all full. There's a pretty one to look at close up. Very dependable, very low maintenance. They might need a trim like this one every now and then. I don't know how that one got so much taller. Alright. Let's go back out. Again, blue Victoria Salvia. Spirea. Marigolds. In the front here, I try to keep the same pattern and theme. But in the back, it's all wild. Bunch of big variety in the back. Barberry. This here is a new one, just a few weeks ago. It's a hydrangea tree where they uplimbed it into a tree form instead of a shrub. Again, the same as the limelights, but the difference of this one is this was called Pinky Winky, and as the blooms get older, they'll start turning pink. And I got this at Myers. I talk about Myers Garden Center all the time, which I really like. And here's our big crepe myrtle, which will get bright red blooms on it. Crepe myrtles are kind of a later blooming in the season. I know sometimes in the spring when all the other trees are filling out and getting green, sometimes the crepe myrtle looks like it didn't make it or whatever, but don't fear, because it just takes these longer to fill out and longer to bloom. So look at the blooms there. Okay, moving on. Green barberry. This is lantana. And some more Russian sage. This is a young plant. A very pretty hydrangea here. If my camera will focus. I really like the way this one looks. It's got lots of blooms on it. I believe this one's called Bobo. Very pretty. I've got some rose moss in the pig planter. Beside it is the red lobelia. I've got blue lobelia in the back, and then the red's here. should look very pretty with the purple of the Russian sage when it gets mature. That pretty red and purple. More lantana and more of the red lobelia. I don't know why, but that's all that come back off the other plant. This one here is about finishing up. Another hydrangea. We like rustic garden art here in our garden, and I love finding these wash tubs, and I use them as planters. So here we got 3 annuals. I forget the names of them, I'm sorry. It's purple, hot pink, and a light pink. Some more garden art here with the primitive ladder. I've started hot pink morning glory, and I think this heat has really helped them start growing. So I'm hoping they'll grow up the ladder here. And then end it again with the barberry. More of that Russian sage. Sweet potato vine in the whiskey barrel, the green and the burgundy. I don't know why, but I don't know why it's looking so. Must be a bug that's getting on them. But usually the potato vines do really good for me. And I got just an annual in the center, which really that should probably be on the edge, right? As a spiller. I think I've got all spillers in here instead of fillers and drillers. You gardeners know what I mean. And then another area here that's still a work in progress is our just our back garden here in between the sidewalk and the driveway. Let's see what we got. Sunflowers. More of that rustic garden art. Does anybody know what this is? I planted it last year and now I forgot what it is. It almost looks like a type of aster or something. Okay, coneflower. This is a multicolored coneflower with the yellow and the red. I believe that variety is called the salsa or something like that. Some nice tall Russian sage. Looking good with that sunflower. Pretty color and texture with this plant. Very hardy. Low maintenance. You might have to trim it a little bit if it takes over. And very fragrant. Almost like a lavender family smell. So look at our sunflowers. Usually I'm not crazy about sunflowers, but you know how it is in the spring when you're buying seeds. You just go crazy and overbuy because you're ready for the season. Alright. our Black-Eyed Susans. A new bloomer for you this week. Coreopsis that probably needs to be cut back. I got a drift rose in there, and this is another one I don't know what's going on with. But usually that is full of those red blooms. Yellow Forever and Ever rose. A white rose. Purple aster blooming already. Here is a pretty pink Forever and Ever rose. Very fragrant. 2. This should be popping soon. This is a Rose of Sharon. This tree here. As you can see, it's got lots of blooms or buds on it. Alright guys, let's go into the backyard. Very pretty phlox there is still blooming for us. With a mess of Russian sage, Black-Eyed Susans, nasturtiums, the orange. Speedwell there, the white and the purple, which probably need to be cut back. Looking kind of rough. And then it's hard to find, but there is also a Coreopsis back in there. So I might clean this garden up a little bit. The nasturtiums, I didn't think that they were going to get that big. So I'll have to plant them in a different area next year. We've got sunflower again. And zinnias. The zinnias are popping now. I have no idea what this is. It's a very soft leaf. So if you guys know what it is, let me know. There's the zinnias. More of that speedwell. My poor blanket flower here. Looking a little rough. Very pretty. I couldn't pass up that red. My camera will focus. Here we go. A very pretty red rose here. This is a climber, which is probably in the wrong spot really, but I pulled it up out of a planter this spring. Couldn't decide where I wanted it, but I had to get it in the ground. So that's where she is for now. Sorry for the shadow. Pretty zinnias. Orange. Isn't that color pretty? Got hot pink with the yellow center. We're gonna walk over here in the shade for a second and check out our hollyhocks. Looking good. These were on clearance at Myers last year. I think they were like a couple dollars a piece. And then the ones in the center, I grew from seed this year. They're supposed to be the, I think they're called Dark Knight or something. Supposed to be the dark purple. And no, I probably won't keep these here, but I just needed a place to get them growing and get them started. And then I'll probably move them throughout the yard. More Autumn Joy sedum. Yellow lily. This is going to be a pretty hibiscus when it blooms. My neighbor friend, Chris. This is your hibiscus. We didn't think was going to make it, but it did. Alright. Let's take a look at this garden. Some more of the yellow lilies. Very pretty. These are my grandma's that she shared with me. As well as this pretty, one of my favorites. I love that Papa Red Orange. Very pretty lily. Loosestrife is the white. Pink phlox and pink daylily. Alright guys, I'm coming up on my 30 minutes. I don't like to go over 30 minutes on my videos because it takes forever to load or upload them. So if I cut off, join back on the part 2, which I will do today too. Another favorite lily of mine. I want to say some kind of Georgia peach, maybe that one's called. This is actually a mauve color, which is pretty with the yellow center. Lamb's ear here in the front. Snow in the summer. This is just its first year here. Sedum. Black-eyed Susan. The camera doesn't do this one justice, but this is like the brightest hot pink flower. This one's phlox. This one's a new one I just got this year. Some more of that pretty Georgia peach, I believe it is. And in the back there is a 9-bark. Spiderwort. So in the morning, that's when the spiderwort will bloom, and it closes up in the afternoon. But in the morning, it's such a pretty royal blue next to this red-orange lily. Looks very pretty together. Lamb's ear. And this is that annual that I forgot the name of. I wish I got more of it. And then more of the yellow lily.